every customer, in this page, he has a thing called a lifetime value. And what is that lifetime value? It is much, much more and higher than the first initial transactional value. How did I get to know? Same compound, 15 years ago, I was participating for a training program done by a professor who came from US. Same place, but it was intercontinental time. I just got into the training field, and I was listening to this professor. He said a very interesting story, and from there only I learned this LV, lifetime value concept. And his story was interesting, the professor's story. It was about the lifetime value learning. And he brought an airline experience and a can of Coke. He said he's a professor who keeps on traveling all over US, delivering lectures from one state to another. Going to an institution, universities, he delivers lectures. He said one particular university, he delivered a lecture. He has to rush to the other state. He rushed to the airport, dear friends, got into the aircraft, feeling tired. And steward was walking by and said to him, "Excuse me, miss, could you get me a can of Coke?" And the reply was, "Economic class, pre-flight, Coke is not served." Then he had said, "Miss, I'm thirsty. I'm feeling tired. It seems that my sugar levels are going down. Please." So I repeat, economy class, pre-flight, Coke is not being served. He had said, "I won't request for it if I'm not really in need of it. I will forego the Coke what I'm supposed to get while the aircraft is in the air, but now I need a can of Coke." So again, I'm telling you, economy class, pre-flight, Coke is not being served. He said, when I heard this for the third time, this professor was telling, I got a lot of courage to bear up the thirst to a manner where, when the flight was in the air, she came and gave the can of Coke. I threw it at her and said, "I don't want it. Get out." "Don't worry, I'll pay for it." Okay. I just threw it. Right. So what happened now? Said that she was thinking that she was just refusing a can of Coke. But she didn't realize how much she was refusing from me, because she didn't know the lifetime value of mine. He did a calculation of the lifetime value. He said, "I'm a busy professor in US who keeps on flying from one destination to another often. And each time when I fly," he said, "my cost of the air ticket return minimum could be US dollars 80. And minimum I travel twice a week. Means for a year, 52 times. And he said, I'm 40 years old now. Assume that I continue to do this lecturing for the next 25 years. So what happened? Multiply by 25. Okay? Then he said, my wife is also a professor who keeps on traveling from one destination to another and then delivers lectures. She's also quite a kind of a busy professor. And most of the time we both are in the air. For that matter, we met each other for the first time also while we were in the air. And I went and shared this story with her. And she also has the equal potential to fly just like me. And I told her, honey, even you're not going to fly in this airline any longer. Said that she's a very obedient lady. And she said, yes, darling, I will not. So see how much this airline lost. He said, from the day this incident took place all over in US and all over the world, wherever I go, I had been sharing this experience. And today in this audience, there are 100 people who got to know about it. And he asked the question, how many of you would stop flying in this airline? How many hands went up? 101, because my both hands went up. And he said, out of so many thousands of people who had been listening to this story, maybe 10 people who had the same potential like me, along with their spouses, decided not to fly, multiplied by 10. An alarming figure, if you know your mathematics, simple. How much is that? US dollars 4.2 million was the lifetime value. Why did this happen? Owing to what? Owing to what? Owing to what? Come on. Just a can of Coke. Then he asked, what is the price of a can of Coke? Ask the question. What is the price of a can of Coke? Friends, he said he did some studies and found out. In US airlines, they virtually give Coke free as a promotional tool. Coke company gives it free. There's only a transportation cost from Coke stores to the airline stores, which we found was just only how much? 7 cents. Now when this lady was saying, sir, in economy class pre-flight, Coke is not being served, she was thinking of probably could be saving 7 cents. But at the expense of how much? 4.2 million US dollars. I have a question to ask you guys, the managers, your frontliners, just question yourself. Today, whenever we are dealing with the customers, are we aware of the LTV? Are we aware of the LTV? Question yourself. Many a times we go by the transactional value at that moment of time and we never think of a LTV. Only that moment, transactional value. We never think of LTV. See how dangerous it is. When I was running this training program in Maldives to a leading mobile company, there was a boy who was seated, just 19 years old. You know what he said? Oh, Dhammika, first time I heard there's a thing called LV, lifetime value. Oh, I never thought of it. All these days when a customer walked up to me to get a SIM, how did I treat the customer? Yeah, 35 rupiah, here the SIM, go. Yeah, reload, yeah, 25 rupiah, here, go. That's the way how I treated. Because I thought the proper value of the customer is that transactional value at that moment of time. It's confined only to that. But after listening to your LTV, now I tend to realize how much I had been losing. Go and share this with your workers, your frontliners. Every customer whom you deal with, there's a thing called a LV. As I told you, never to boast my diary get filled about 3 months ahead. And as a policy, I don't take advances. I don't. As a policy, I don't do that. Now, last moment, there are cancellations coming from clients. There's opportunity cost. Because that day I would have offered to somebody else. But I'm losing money. And this day, I'll never ever get. But still for all, how do I do? I said, it's okay, sir, I do understand your urgency and your priorities. That's fine, that's fine. Let's work on another day. That's what I do. Because I understand their LV, lifetime value. Inside boiling, but I keep on smiling. Yeah, you lost an opportunity. Now that is what you have to do. Are we concerned about the lifetime value?